Here's the thing about the camera. You are a physical manifestation, you, the camera, are a physical manifestation of everything that like trans and gender queer folks feel all the time. Like this is the whole thing about how kids are super self-involved and so are adults. We always think like everyone's staring at us, everyone's looking at us, and sometimes that's true, especially when you're trans or genderqueer. So we kind of go through the world thinking that we don't fit in. We stand out in the bathrooms, in our classrooms, in our too long tank tops because we're short trans guys, or too short dresses because we're trans women, or what have you. And so we always think that people are staring. And now you, with your camera, you are staring. And some people are excited to be representatives of the trans community, and other people feel violated.
She just, one morning, we woke up and she announced that she was Hannah. She said, I'm Hannah now. She says, I am transgender. She definitely knows that it's a camp for kids like her.
Rainbow girl. So I have these and my face. When the rain stops, the rainbow comes.
I'm from groups of creatures who never seemed right for me. I'm from innocent that has wilted like leaves fallen from trees. I'm from a dark room with no light that has recently been opened up. I'm from the voice in my head who used to chant to me that there's no luck. I'm from begging and begging. I want to go home. I'm scared.
When she was born, I always said, like, she's so pretty, so pretty. She should have been a girl. I've said that, like, her whole life. And she tells me that sometimes I am. I was a girl. You just didn't know.
I'm from a place where blood rushes down walls. I'm from a wonderland of joy. I'm from a place where being tough is better than education.
I don't even remember what the trigger was, but it all happened very quickly. It was like, so I went to the courthouse, I did the courthouse thing, and it was like days after the courthouse, I said, I'm gonna start taking hormones. Because I went to the doctor, to the endocrinologist, had like a mildly horrifying pap smear, and then, which you have to do if you're, female to male. And I call my dad, and I'm like, okay, I gotta talk to you about something, but don't tell mom. I was like, I'm just gonna knock all this shit out. Would like to think of myself as a new breed of man, someone who is kind of aware of what it means to be a woman in the world, and as such, have this extra responsibility to be a good guy.
My daughter was going to summer camp, and it was an all-girls empowerment camp, and she came home crying because her friend got mad at her and had told everybody at the camp that she was indeed born a biological boy. And so Scarlett came home crying and was saying, I'm not sure if I can go back to the camp because they all know, and I'm so embarrassed and I'm so ashamed. No. What's wrong, sweetheart?
Don't do that.
You don't do what?
Don't talk about it.
Because I didn't want you to be sad like that again. Because if you were sad, then it made me realize that other gender creative kids were going to be sad too.
Who cares?
I care.
About other kids.
I care about other kids, and I also care about you.
Except I don't care about other kids because other kids are mean to me.
Is it beating?
Something that's hard for me right now is telling my parents about my transition plans because they already know that I'm trans, but they don't connect transitioning to that, so I have to tell them again, and I'm worried about that.
Trying to figure out where I sort of want to place myself in between different groups.
I'm a little worried right now. I'm going to visit my family at the end of next week. They're a little more conservative than the people I usually spend time with, and I'm learning just how to be honest with them. Being able to be patient about transitioning and like the whole process.
Something that is hard for you right now. Jonathan, you're up.
To get my sister to stop annoying me. That's really hard. About his reading. It's a hard knock life.
That was really pretty. You're a good singer.
It's a hard knock life.
Okay, maybe later we can sing show tune. Okay, Darnella. Something that is difficult for you.
I didn't think about it.
You want to come back to you?
My dad keeps getting mean to me in the summer. He's like, yelling at me and saying I'm saucy, but I'm really not.
You're not sassy.
What does saucy mean? Sassy. Something that's hard for me right now is a few weeks ago I got out of school, and I brought home most of my work, and for a few days I just left it in the halls, and then my Daisy, when I was somewhere at a play day with my friend, she chewed one of my posters, so it kind of is on my mind because like she ripped half of it. My mom and dad don't have that much money, and I can't sleep because they're just arguing like how are we gonna get so much money? And there's also people like upstairs and downstairs in my apartment, and it's hard and I can't go to sleep.
It's just like, I just couldn't imagine being 7 years old and just being like, oh, I'm a girl. You know, like even though you were born like a natal male or whatever. Honestly, it blows my mind, the self-awareness. I'm jealous. And that their parents are so incredible about supporting them. You know, and at the same time, you have a couple young folks here who are just sort of exploring their gender. I don't know, this is a good place to do it. Maybe their parents are kind of scared, but the kids, I don't know, they're brave.
And there's another one that it's like, oh, but what do you do? I gotta get back to my block with these nunchucks in my hand, with these nunchucks in my hand. I wanna be like Jackie Chan.
Darnella was still in the system, we'll start there. I thought my child was gay. And I understand, and it's okay. And she was like, no, you don't understand. I'm not gay. She didn't just tell me she wanted to be a girl. How it happened is that she's got a Build-A-Bear, right? And the Build-A-Bear transitioned before she did. And she was like, do you think Bear Bear could wear this outfit? It's really cute, but Bear Bear's a boy. And I was like, well, you know, I mean, I didn't get it at the time, right? How freaking important this conversation was, right? Because like I'm a mom, I'm like with my phone in my hand, But you know, she's like, well, can Bear Bear turn into a girl? If I want her to be a girl, can she be a girl? Yeah, sure, why not? You know, Bear Bear could be whatever you want Bear Bear to be. The second thing that was a step in that direction, I guess, she had no clean underwear. And because I couldn't wash, and it was like a big old pressure situation. So we stopped by Ross, and she found a really cute little like boy short and bralette set. And she was like, Mommy, can I get this? And I was like, no. And she said, please, can I get this? I really want it. When she went into foster care, she had that underwear. Boy, it threw the CPS people into a tailspin. They didn't know what to do about that. It really, that is why they were so expedient too in really trying to reconnect us, because she was abused physically and emotionally in foster care. She was, you know, made to feel like shit. While she was in foster care, there was this girl, Jamia, that she was like best friends with. And she was also like one of the first people that she told that she feels like she's a girl. And she talked to her about not having girl clothes and feeling bad. And so this little girl got like all this clothes together, a big bag full of clothes, and brought them to school for her. you know, and they were like best friends. And I don't know, somehow this little girl kept the truth or whatever from her parents, because her parents found out that my child's, you know, born a boy, and they said that they couldn't be friends anymore. They were in a talent show together, and they even pulled the other little girl out, so it just left Dee high and dry with nobody to do the performance with. And so that's how she came up with the name. The little girl's name is Jamia. And so she was like, how about Darnella?
With this white glove in my hand.
With this white glove in my hand.
I want to be like Michael Jackson.
She was Googling the youngest age in the US to have the operation, bottom operation. We went from there to talk about how does it change you? Can you still feel anything? What happens to your penis? You know, we went over all that. Like, we have really open conversations, and we'll get the phone and we'll Google it. I'm super scared, and I worry about my child all the time. I lived on the streets when I was a kid. You know, I ran away from home. My mom was a heroin addict, a crack addict. So that's why I left, because she couldn't stop spending money on dope, and she couldn't stop beating me or trying to sell me to drug dealers and stuff, you know. But that wasn't nothing. I met boys that were like, God, 10 years old, my baby's age, that were kicked out and had to do crazy stuff, and people hurt them, you know, because their parents didn't just love them. And I could never, like, I remember thinking that every time I would end, because it was like a lot of times. It wasn't just like one or two. And like, I was just like, I don't care what my kid is. I could never do that. I could never do that. God, I could never do that.
I just don't know that many parents who are ready to be like, okay, I love you, trans daughter, and now I'm gonna be at the forefront of this movement and create a space where other families can extend their kids. There's just not a lot of champions like that. As the trans child of wonderful, supportive cis parents, like I know how important that is.
It'll be different to go like this too.
And that's where I feel like the Bay Area is a sort of a groundswell for that social revolution of really being mindful. It's not just a whim that these children are identifying as being gender creative. You know, it's the insistence, persistence, and consistency about being brave. It's not easy to do what they're doing. And it's that authenticity, trusting that instinct. And I think that being able to be true to that, whatever that is, for a 2-year-old or a 14-year-old, whether it's around gender, and being able to honor it in your child or in your partner or in yourself, it's a beautiful thing.
This right here is a very interesting community. How many of us have ever felt like we're kind of like the odd person?
I'm Jay, and I have one child here, my oldest. He identifies as a boy. Him being here today, I'm just relieved that I don't have to. I don't have to worry that he's gonna have a day of trying to maintain and not feel shame about something.
My daughter's Gigi, who was Garrett, and wanted to be Rosie and Rachel. But we can live with Gigi, which is similar to Garrett, because G's always been little G, or G anyway. So Gigi, who's also 7.
Like, I'd want to call him she or feel really odd inside for calling him he while looking at this beautiful little girl in front of me. And now I don't have that at all, but I notice, you know, a lot of people have a hard time with it, and I get it. Just really curious about how that's going to look like for, you know, whether he's going to be somewhere in the middle continuously, or if he's going to go over to one side, which I'd be much more comfortable with. It's really pushing me to step out of my own binary programming. It's so powerful.
We've been really hesitant to plug her into either or, but also At school, it's so much easier for other people. And I feel like she gets not necessarily bullied, but questioned. Says, oh, I'm this much girl and I'm this much boy. I was like, because that's how I would peg her, is probably about 75-25.
I was thinking of the defining 75-25%. I started checking in with myself, like how much woman am I versus how much masculine or female am I?
At some point, I don't know when in the future, maybe we wouldn't even have to use that, percentages to define who we are. It's just sort of be a non-issue.
I saw Santa Claus.
You saw him?
Lucky.
That's awesome.
I've never seen Santa Claus. Oh, okay.
It's because he's not real.
Well, he's real. Of course he's real.
Well, actually, he isn't.
Yeah, he is.
He's
So,
just.
show me
well,
what you're-
he was just acting.
It's sort of an evolution. It started as mostly dress up. She would pretend to be Feist and watch Feist videos and dress up as Feist and, learn everything Feist, learn all her mannerisms, study. She studied Feist. We used to joke around and say she's a method actor. But when she wasn't Feist, she was a boy. And she was a boy who wore dresses. That's how she described herself. But she would refer to herself in the future as a girl. Like, when I grow up and I'm a girl. So she had this idea, mind you, she was 3 years old. So she had this idea that she's a boy now, but then when she grows up, she's gonna somehow turn into a girl. One morning, we came out into the living room where she was watching TV and started up a conversation with her, probably using, her name that we were used to calling her. And she said, I'm Hannah now, call me Hannah. It was very matter of fact. It was kind of like, it was very mature. It was like, oh, just to let you know, you can call me Hannah now. And I asked her where she got that name. And she said she got it from somebody on Barney. Once she transitioned to Hannah, she's not as obsessed with Feist. She doesn't watch Feist constantly or dress up and study her anymore. So I think that was part of her trying to become female. And now that she's female, she just is.
Mama?
Yeah.
What's this called?
It's not an ophthalmoscope, maybe?
Yeah.
Yes. What is it?
What is it again? Mom, what is it again?
I think it's an ophthalmoscope.
Ophthalmoscope.
Things changed when she was going to my dad's house on the weekend. She had a standoff with Grandpa that lasted about 45 minutes, where he tried to bribe her. He tried to sweet talk her. He tried to get his wife to sweet talk her. He tried to cajole her into changing. It basically said that she wasn't to bring any feminine clothes, where his house and his and the coast were to be masculine only. No feminine things, no books, no clothes, no pink. For me personally, things got really difficult because that was the first time ever that we had ever come into any conflict about this at all. And it was from my dad. Not from the outside world, not from her friends, not from her school, not from anybody, but from my dad. That's when all her obsessive, kind of compulsive stuff started. With the shoes and the socks she started having these breakdowns where she couldn't leave the house because the seams on her socks didn't match each other, or the seams weren't right. And we'd have plans to go someplace, so we would end up missing going.
I've had this said to me before, if you're born as a girl, then you can't just turn into a boy, or if God made you this way, then you have to be a girl. And I It feels terrible when people play those cards.
I want my kid to be a calm, cool-headed, well-adjusted spirit, forgiving kind of person. And I see that in AJ, that a little bit oversensitiveness, that kind of always in this combative mode, that the world is there to get you, and I don't know how to. I don't wanna tell him to put up with the maybe wrong messages. I don't wanna teach him to be submissive and accept the discrimination. But also I want him to, as your mom said, to be forgiving and understanding of people.
This is a big deal, and they're gonna have some really big feelings about it. And I would much rather my kid stand up and say, hell no, don't treat me that way, even if it's too much, if it's too over the top. Like, I want them to come from that place, because the world is gonna keep coming at them.
Maybe they're right, but I doubt they'll ever know how it feels to cry themselves to sleep at night. Because of this body, this chest, those tubes, that what's in your pants, the wear a swim shirt, the air out your shirt's too tight, the look down and check, the wear more layers, the binders are dangerous, the surgery is permanent, the I don't think surgery is necessary, the body dysphoria that will be the internal death of me. I'm writing to my mind, a piece of me that seems to hate, hate, hate all the time. I wish it would shut off to see. Just because I have different body parts does not mean I'm not me.
And then those folks are gonna say, we're learning, this is new for us, like it's right, it's all about them all the time.
When you're trying to get people to consistently use pronouns or names or just address you respectfully, they always say, oh, well, we're adjusting to it, we're getting used to it, blah, blah, blah. But this can go on for months, for years. And it's kind of, I think sometimes, and I've definitely felt this, is you start to feel kind of as if you bring it up, you're being self-centered or selfish in some way because you're making this about you, and that's totally not what it's about. It's a basic human respect.
And also, like, this is like you, so like I think it's okay to be self-centered about you.
It feels bad because it feels like you're just trying to push something and it's a lost cause because they don't even try to understand.
The one thing I'm really tired of, generally speaking, is someone mistaking me as a guy and one of my parents correcting them, because I felt this way for a long time. I just didn't know what it was.
It's kind of hard for me at my school because I was the only trans kid throughout the whole time in the school, and they still don't know what to do for me, and I don't need much.
Schools are places that don't know what to do with us. It's not like we're a mice problem. That's what it always seems to be, right? Okay, well, we'll put a couple gender-neutral bathrooms, like we'll do a gender spectrum training, and like, all right, problem solved, done. And that's not what it is. Like, we're talking about humans and humanity and safety and environments, especially like school. I don't know, I just remember like having my head down, crying in second grade because I was gonna pee my pants.
It's like either get yelled at in one or potentially beat up in the others. I mean, I want to get like just stuff done. I'm assuming you know what I mean.
That whole like you're too young, you might change your mind kind of thing. Would you rather have your child or not?
You know, I read this story about this kid, they transitioned really young. He's saying that he regrets it, and he wishes his parents would have said no, and that they should have, your child is gonna want it to eat candy all day and play in the street, but you have to be the one to say no now. I mean, it worries me, but I don't feel like my kid, like, like, I don't see that. I don't ever see any point where, I mean, God, forgive me for being super, but like, there's the boy. And you know what I mean? I never see it. I never see it. And, you know, she really is pushing, though, about a kid that looked like me or her. And so I said, well, you know, if you wanted to, before you had the surgery, you could have some of your sperm saved, and that would be a child that looks like you. I know from, you know, her reference to saying that she wants to have kids and she wants to be a mom and she wants to get married, that she is seeing herself in a longer term.
But it's okay to have fun, too, since it's the last day. And I know a lot of people are really excited to have you here.
I hope that she isn't hurt or abused by anybody. I hope that the world can look at her and see what I see, you know? 50 years ago, it was so strange. It would be so strange to see my children, my mixed children, right? 30 years ago, it would be so strange to see two men walking down the street holding hands, two women, you know, in love. So hopefully 30 years from now, it won't be strange. I know sometimes she still ducks behind me. She still hides behind me, you know, because she's scared. And, you know, I'm always there for her to hide behind, but I don't want her to feel like she has to hide.
Part of our mission is to really hold these families and these children to their core. And so, I mean, and as a parent and as an ally, the question is, of course, you know, and of course we're committed to doing that. But I think that for me, it's like emotionally, I don't think I was prepared to be so profoundly touched and so profoundly transformed. And I feel like even though we do all this, even though I try to understand and create this social bubble around her, is it going to be enough? For me, the narrative of that experience sparked, you know, the camp and a nonprofit, but for her, she still has to navigate this relationship, so it's still current.
Did I ruin it? No, sorry.
What are you decorating?
A unicorn.
What's your favorite food? Can you eat broccoli or no? You can? What else can you eat?
Carrots.
I like carrot. Hot carrots or cold carrots?
Oh my gosh, I love your pajamas.
Juicy carrots.
Juicy carrots?
And I can also have
I was gonna wear mine.
spaghetti.
I had spaghetti last night.
Oh, that's so cute. It's so cute. She was having a tough morning this morning, so having trouble getting out of the house. She had some anxiety and stuff, so I told her I'd stay with her here until she could settle in. But looks like she's settling in now.
I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am strong. I am strong.
I'm addicted to this boy. He's got my heart tied in a knot and my stomach feeling joy.
After sort of letting all of that go and accepting the fact that, yes, I was in a dark phase and I was going through depression, and yes, it was terrible and I was uncertain and I was questioning my own gender, but now I feel like I've accepted myself. I can still look in the mirror and say, you know, I'm a person. I can be handsome and I can be pretty, and it doesn't matter.
Just like I got him, but I surely don't, because he's so
close. I said 7 months.
I'm the president of the GSA at my school, which is the Gay Straight Alliance. And I got blockers, and I don't know if I don't think I had them when I was at the camp. Did I?
No.
No. Well, I got blockers, which is a huge step for me.
When?
I don't remember, actually.
You didn't tell me.